I've been friends with Logic, or Bobby, as he introduces himself, for a few years now. He's at a really interesting and matured place in his life and career, and I wanted to have a conversation about where he is now and what's to come. We talk about his upcoming book, feature film, money, fame, and walking away from social media to reset. He's a great guy with a powerful message, perspective, and sense of humor. I really hope you enjoy this conversation with Logic today on Between the Sheets. Bobby.
Yeah.
Sir Robert Bryson Hall II.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me, dude.
Thank you.
We're drinking Godfathers today. 'cause
Godfathers. Never had one.
It's only fitting. Let me know how you like it.
Wow. Holy
Pretty good.
shit. That's
Pretty good,
amazing.
right? Yeah. Because you just drink Scotch mostly,
Yeah,
right?
just
Because you
neat.
just started drinking
A couple years
a
ago.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
You avoided it for a long time.
Long time.
Were you afraid that you were gonna turn into me?
No. My parents.
Yeah.
Yes, because my mom was like alcoholic and drug addict, and my dad as well. So it was in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
But I had like drank when I was younger in high school, but I would like fall asleep right away. So I never felt the effects or anything like that. I did smoke weed for a while, but that made me super paranoid, like insanely.
You were already having anxiety.
Well, no, because I
It was
mean,
pre that.
yeah, like it was like I was still a teenager. So I was in high school thinking I was Snoop Dogg, and you know all my friends being like, "What the fuck? Stop being a bitch." Can I say fuck?
You can say whatever you want,
Okay.
except for the stuff that I told you you can't.
Okay, got it. Cool.
But yeah, you can cuss.
So just don't talk about your negative bank account.
Don't talk about me at all. Don't tell anyone anything you know about me.
okay.
That's the only rule that you can't do is tell anyone any of my secrets.
Yeah, but when I was like 27, that's when I started smoking weed again because I had insane anxiety, like horrible derealization where you feel like you're out of your body, and I was experiencing it, and you knew what that was like, and that was super hard. And I just was like, man, what if like I truly used weed as like a medicinal thing, and I tried it, and it started to ease my anxiety. But I realized it was less about actually like the substance itself, and it was about the mentality that I had with it. And I was always a power thing. Like I was scared to smoke because I needed to be in control. And when you smoke weed, you're kind of letting control go, and you're like, whoa, man, this is crazy, man. And I was never like, couldn't be like Tommy Chong. I was like, nah, like I need to be in control.
Right.
And when I learned to really let it go and just kind of enjoy it, and also microdosing.
Yeah, not going overboard.
Yeah, just
right
taking
away.
a little pull and then realizing like, wow. And then away from the substance is like if I feel anxiety or anxiousness or whatever, I'm just like, it's cool. You're in control. Just calm down. A big thing of it though was balance. I was just working too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to figure out. That's the biggest thing, right? The balance. Because
Yeah.
you have to figure it out with this in moderation. You
Yeah.
got to figure it out in work.
Yeah. The biggest balance was like personal and work, like, cause I would work all the time, cause I love what I do, right? You know, so as a musician and a writer, like, I love it, so I want to do it all the time. And even though my heart is willing, I have to give my body like a break. It's very important.
You brought up your parents, and a lot of times, don't do that. Don't look straight into the camera. We're gonna cut all that out. I'm gonna add some like bunny ears. I'm gonna add a Snapchat filter to it.
Damn, that's fucking good.
It's good, right? If you want another one, let me know. $20 and we'll get you.
All right, you got it.
Speaking of your work ethic and your parents, a lot of people they learn, because you have a very strong work ethic, and a lot of people learn that from watching the example of their parents. Your parents weren't necessarily a shimmering, shining example in many regards in that way. So where did the work ethic come from?
It's funny, like, I always think that it's the same reason, like, so in my household, it was like drugs and domestic abuse and violence, and you know, you could look at me and be like, oh, like I look however I look, but the truth is like I've shot guns and ran around with people and done stupid shit.
Yeah.
Nothing that I like can look in the mirror and like truly like regret. Like I'm like, oh my God, nothing like that. But that's all that I saw, and my parents weren't really, you know, they didn't set a good example. And I think it was like if I saw my mother being beaten by a man, it was like, oh well, that's not how you treat a woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
Right.
if I see people, you know, really ruining their lives because of drugs and alcohol, I'm like, oh, like you don't overdo it. So it was like a weird voice inside of me that was kind of just like a I don't know, like a narrator of like, don't do this. Where other people would see it and that would be like an example set. Like, oh, it's okay, we can do this and that and treat women XYZ and blah, blah, blah. But I just saw it differently. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, where do you think that morality distinction came for you? Because like you said, most people who grow up around that sort of end up taking on those same kind of behaviors, but you immediately at a young age were like, no, this is not the...
I think
it's because you saw the effect, probably.
Yeah, I
right?
definitely saw the effect, but I also saw how it affected me because I've always wanted a family and children, and this like these are things that I'm excited to have and do and be a part of and experience as a man. But like, I just knew because I was the child like being abused or witnessing abuse, like I would never want to make anyone feel like that. It was weird. Like you call it God, energy, the universe, whatever, but it was this thing, this like voice that was like, don't do that. I mean, I still did stupid shit, but like not like that.
Yeah, you weren't going around beating people up and stuff like that.
I can see like the joke. Like you want to say something.
Dude, I'm saving them up. So you came into you not the kind of money that I have, but you came into some money, mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous thing that you've spent money on now that you have it?
It's crazy. So it's only recently, and it was a Bronco. I spent $250,000 cash, 1967 Bronco, fully restored inside.
So that was post, restoration. You didn't pay that, and then
no, it was like it already looked amazing. It was like great, and it was just in perfect condition, and I love it, and it's really dope. But I also saw it as, there's still money in that. So if I ever want to sell it, like, I have that, which is really nice. And then this Rolex, which is funny because
you bought that for yourself?
I bought it for myself when I was up for the Song of the Year award at the Grammys. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go to the Grammys, I'm gonna wear a suit, and I've always wanted a Rolex forever. I've been able to afford a Rolex for a long time, but I was like, why? Like, I don't really need to do it. Blah, blah. And there was two reasons that I did it. One, because it's like, man, this is a momentous occasion. It's something I'm always going to remember. And like, hey, why not? And then two, I can give it to my son whenever I have kids. So it's like an heirloom. So I'm really weird. I don't spend a lot of money. Like, I'm always like, man, should I do this or should I do that? And my friends are like, you're rich, motherfucker. Are you serious? Like,
yeah, live a little bit.
Yeah, live a little bit for sure. That's a thing. So I've been spending a little bit of money, kind of, but it's always slight shit. It's not like insane. It's not crazy. It's more so like things like experiences. Like I feel bad even when I buy clothes, because I don't know.
Just because you look at the price tag and you go, I don't know if I need to spend this on a...
Well, I bought Yeezys. I bought 2 pair of Yeezys and it was like 10 grand. Exactly, and it's like, oh my God, you spent $10,000 on shoes. But in my mind, I was like, that's so stupid forever. I was like, why would somebody spend that much money, blah, 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 blah. But the truth is, it's something I always wanted. And I don't owe anybody a fucking explanation.
No,
but it's an internal thing. Because like broke Bobby's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I'm trying to eat. I'm eating powdered eggs and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Buying $10,000 shoes. But then I'm looking at my account, like, and like respectfully, I'm looking at it like, man, you deserve this, dude. You work hard.
We were talking about your tattoos.
Yeah.
And you have a pretty interesting list of things that you're sort of a fan of as far as like movies and TV. You got Cowboy Bebop, you love Interstellar, you love Tarantino movies, obviously all that stuff.
Yeah.
What is it about those types of stories? Like, let's talk about Cowboy Bebop. Like, huge impact on your life.
Yep.
You have tattoo, you got a little Spike. You obviously got to work with Steve and Mary, and you know them now. And like, what was it about Cowboy Bebop that got you?
I kind of looked up to this guy when I was younger. He was like an older kid by a few years, and I was probably like 11, and I just was so amazed by his like talent. He was a writer, and he would write and he would draw, and he would draw these incredible characters, and I was like so jealous. I was like, I wish I could do that. So I started drawing like Dragon Ball Z characters and shit and all this stuff, and watching Cowboy Bebop, and he kind of introduced me to it. And I was like, I want to be creative. I want to be able to come up with stories about space and travel and bounty hunters and anything. It was just something that at a young age like really triggered and just hit me and was like, yo, like you can do this. You can have fun and you can create things. And yeah.
So this is sort of a reminder for you of the inspiration that those things has had on your life.
Yeah, I mean honestly, like that's one thing. Like I'll post like this one right here. It's Bobby Boy. It's my production company logo. The reason I got this little guy, right? This is me at like 5 years old, 5 to 8 years old. All right. And he's saying you can do anything you want, like no matter what in the world. And imagine all the insecurities that you could have about yourself, right? Like truly, like not even in a joking manner, like serious insecurities, whatever they could be. You know, you could think you're too fat, too skinny, you're bald, you're poor, you're, you know, not a good lover, you're this, like,
right.
But like, there's all these things, and imagine writing them down on a list, and then someone shows you a picture of yourself as a child and says, okay, now read that list to that kid. And so like, that's why I got this, because he's telling me like, no matter what, like you can, he's full of imagination.
Yeah.
There's no telling him that there isn't, you know, there isn't anything forward. So I got that.
It's a reminder of innocence too, right?
Yeah, 100%. But that's what I love. And people, you know, they'll say whatever they want, but the truth is like, I get tattoos because I love them. And I'm surrounded by all the Ready Player One and Currents, the Tame album, What For, Toi et Moi, Akira, Cowboy Bebop, The Goonies. The reason I got this is because it's one of the first films I ever remember as a child.
Watching, yeah.
Yeah, and that it was Amazing Salad Days, Mike DeMarco, Sinatra's Signature. The time I went to Tokyo, I have Kill Bill, which is the first film that really got me into hip-hop because RZA did the score.
Right.
Ultra 85, which is an album I've been working on for 90,000 years.
4 years ago, your first like actual album came out.
Yeah.
4 years ago, not that long.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because it feels like fucking forever.
It does. Obviously, a lot in your life has changed since then.
Yeah, definitely.
But what's the biggest changes outside of all the stuff that we've talked about and that we know? Money, success, fame.
Yeah. The biggest change, period, is physical and mental health and happiness. That is the number one. I used to like drive myself into the ground working on music for 18 hours and not eating and just like stupid shit like that, you know, and so focused on others. And because that's a big thing that I've truly freed myself from is social media and like what the public thinks. Because it's scary, like everyone wants to be loved. It's just true. You want to be loved, you want to be accepted. If I'm accepted by this group, then I can accept myself. Like that's what it really all comes down to, like happiness and personal, like it's insane. But I think the biggest thing is like I quit smoking, you know, and I understand now what matters most, and my health and my happiness is the most important. It's just period. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, when I met you, you were eating like one meal a day, and it was like McDonald's. And
yeah, I was eating like shit.
Grinding in the studio.
Yeah, I remember there was a time when I would drink 7 cans of Coke a day, and I fucking was pissing blood and had to go to the hospital like crazy.
Yeah, that's kidneys.
Yeah, and it's just bad. And I was like, well, then I was like 23. But it's like, you're just an idiot. You think you're going to live forever.
Oh, I drank a 12-pack of Mountain Dew a day when I was playing Call of Duty and,
dude,
you know,
it's insane.
Talking shit to 12-year-olds.
But you think you're going to live forever. You don't think about it. You don't really think about tomorrow. You expect it to come. And then you get older and people you love like pass away and you just start seeing shit for what it really is and you're like, well, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel good. I'm really happy. Like working out has been amazing and even just taking a break too. Like, but not, see, a break for me is still like making like 3 songs a week. Like,
yeah, a break is you may not be going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you're still working.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, because that's who I am. But it's more so traveling. Like I hate traveling. You know, and some people could be like, what? Like, how could you hate traveling, bro? You get to see the world. But no, it's like I get to see green rooms and hotel rooms.
Yeah, you get to see the
airport. Like that's it. And after a long time, it can become stressful and fucking make you depressed.
Well, most of the time, too, what people don't understand, and this goes back to the conversation about social media, is that the snippets that we see of someone's life online is often not really an accurate representation. So if you're in London doing a show or whatever else, it's not like you get to hang out in London for 2 weeks or wherever else. You have to go in, go out. Plus, while you're there, you probably have 15 interviews. You got to talk to a bunch of douchebags like me
100%.
the whole day. And then, yeah, super annoying. And then you have to get on a plane or a bus and go somewhere else right away.
Yeah.
So you don't get to like really savor and enjoy those vacations unless you have time off or you choose to take one.
Yeah, that's why I've been like not on social media as much because like I used to kind of, if there was other artists that would like take hiatuses and then come back when they had an album, I almost felt like fuck that person. Like they're only coming back to their fans to try to like promote an album and that's it, and then they're out. But the truth is like I spent my entire career, you know, pretty much a decade, the last 10 years, like on Twitter and Instagram every day, all the time, doing multiple things for them and engaging and this and that. And now it's at a point where I just literally can't even do that anymore. because now it's like you don't even know who the true fans even are anymore. Because it's like a
Yeah.
household name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the music and the content and make this for the fans and go on tour and see the fans there and do fun private events and little gigs for them and do that. And so I'm using it more so as a way to still stay in touch and connect with fans regarding social media. But it's like, dude, I don't check my phone when I wake up. It's amazing. I don't check my phone 1,000 times throughout the day. And it makes me, it's just so freeing. Like I spend my time reading or writing or with loved ones or my dogs. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a few months ago. I feel like you made that transition.
Yeah.
Was there a specific incident, or was
Yeah,
it just like, you know what,
it was to the
ready?
point. Every single time I got on social media, I was sad, and I didn't really realize I was depressed. I mean, imagine every time you go, somebody calls you a bitch or a faggot or an asshole, or you're ugly or you're terrible or you're bald or your relationships don't work out or XYZ. It's like, dude, that's fucking sucks.
Constant.
That sucks, bro. Like
Yeah.
every single time you log on to something, it's about how you're not good enough, you're not adequate enough. Do this, don't do this, and even like positive comments are still like berated with negativity. For example,
Backhanded like
yeah,
compliments.
it's like, oh, I really like that song. Do more of this. And it's like, what?
Or it's like, oh, this song is great. It's the first one I've liked that you've done in the last 5 years since you stopped doing mixtapes or whatever.
But it's like,
yeah.
oh, but you're still listening to all that music. Like it's like a weird. But then you got to take it out of it because I go and I'm like, I want this kid to like me, and they're 14, eating, drinking 12 Mountain Dews, playing Xbox,
right, yeah.
shit. And you're like, what? And you just have to separate it. But it's because we're in such an era of like connectivity that they feel like the consumer feels like they own and rule.
The artist,
like they're a king, and we're the jester, and they're like, do this, and this is what we like and what we don't like. But the fact of the matter is, Alan Watts, the late great philosopher, said, anything you can be interested, you'll find others who are. So it's like I create the music for like-minded individuals who enjoy it, not people who don't.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like whether there's viewers here that just don't like my fucking face or yours or this or that, they're still watching, and they're still making us money. So if we keep doing us, they're going to, keep providing. And even deep down, a lot of like hate is truly internal. I know it sounds kind of like cliche or corny, but it's like a lot of negativity that we are given is more so people who aren't satisfied with themselves, and they see you in your great position, hosting the show and all the endeavors that you're a part of, and they're like, I could do it better than that, and if I had that, I would. But the fact of the matter is, they're fucking watching from home.
Yeah.
Those negative people, and you're here, and that's why they say those hurtful things to you or me or anyone in the public eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Do you feel when you go into the studio now, post sort of giving up on that social media anxiety, and there's a bunch of, I've been reading articles for months about the connections between depression and anxiety, and people constantly checking that stuff and then being ruled by the numbers and all the bullshit. But do you feel when you go into the studio, that stuff isn't in your head as much anymore? You're able to focus on the song you want to make versus the song they want you to make?
It's definitely not, especially when you have a hit record that's like for a generation, like with 1-800, it's like insane. And then me touring that and talking about suicide and depression for a year can make you fucking feel like killing yourself.
I was gonna say, did you get to a point doing that song and all that stuff? Because it's super weird. Because I remember going to your studio and you playing me that song before everybody came out. I'm like, whoa, this is dope. This is a great, it's a nice little bunny trail compared to some of the other tracks on the thing. I don't think anybody would have guessed.
Nobody.
Those were not part of the conversation.
And then it comes out and people's like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
But no,
Did you get tired of playing that song and doing that thing because it was so heavy? But you also see the response from it.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like bittersweet. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I that was a major part of my life for a year. It's nothing compared to the heroes at the hotline who deal with it every single day.
Right.
So it's like I'm not complaining. I'm merely just venting as a human being. But I mean, it was great. It was really amazing and really special. It's like the fuck boys I had to interview that I didn't fuck with. Yeah. That's like, you're just on 1-800. Like you didn't even take the time to learn the fucking phone number.
The thing,
Or I really love the album, Everyone. And I'm like, fuck you, man. Like it's like Jesus. That's
your research.
Yeah, but I love sitting down with incredible journalists and people who interview and take the time. And that's what it was. It was less. It's always less about that. It was more just like, this is my first time. Like now I'm a household name. Like soccer moms and shit, no logic. And that's crazy. And that's awesome. And that's what I want. I want to reach everyone, and I want to reach them with a positive message. But the fact of the matter is like, once I had a hit record, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know, I'll keep this up or what, I don't know. But
Yeah.
now I just, after all that, I just go to the studio and I make music that I think is going to be fun. I don't think radio anymore. I think like,
radio's not really a thing
I
right
know,
now, though. So
but that's what I mean.
Like,
I think more so like, is this just gonna be a big song? Like I'm excited, like, oh, I made this turn up song. Like, are people in college gonna play this? Are they gonna play this here and there? I'm not like, are you gonna play this on the radio and in the club? Like, I don't think that shit.
Right.
You know, but everyone goes through ups and downs and everyone wants to be accepted. And it's like, I just wanna be me and I just wanna have fun. And that's what I have been doing and it's amazing. Yeah.
More fulfilling being true to yourself then. Because the thing is, if you try to please those people all the time, those people's what they want changes all the time.
Yeah, because
too.
they grow.
Exactly.
I want to be known as like one of the most diverse artists of my generation, like truly. And I'm not going to do that by fucking rapping on boom bap beats all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just
No,
you
it
know,
makes
yo,
sense.
lyrical, miracle, spiritual, habitual, literal. Like what?
Yeah.
You know,
You're
Remember-
boxed in. You're boxing yourself in that way.
Yeah, so, but that's why even like these Freestyle Fridays I've been doing, which are like mini music videos that loop over and over. Like I haven't really seen anybody do that. So I was like, oh, this could be really fun. And not all just super hip hop, whether it's trap or this or that. And then I had this one song produced by Mac DeMarco that I did recently on this 360 camera. And I was like a little nervous. Like, I wonder what people are going to think. I didn't really give a shit because I feel like it's really good quality music in general. But I was just like, oh, this is a kind of 180 going from like trap the week before to this. Like, I wonder what people are going to think. And a lot of people really loved it and enjoyed it. And that excites me because it's like, yo, I want to do different shit. And that doesn't mean I want to like never do rap. Of course, I love rap, but I'd also love to sing and play the piano and challenge myself. The biggest thing is about challenging yourself. But it's crazy because it's been a bit of an experiment. The first Freestyle Friday I did was just from like talking as if I was talking to a therapist about the things on my mind. And think about kids, think about bills, think about how to maintain these meals, think about youth on drugs and pills, like thinking about all this deep shit. And that hadn't even hit 1 million views. And then the next week, I release a song where the hook is cocaine, 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 Molly, Percocet, my rep. And it's like, that shit was like 1.5 million, like it was nothing.
Why do you think that is?
Because people love negative shit. It's just 100%. Like,
right.
And it's like, one, it sounds good. So it makes you do this. You're
Right.
like, cocaine, I could be saying anything. But then you equate that to what other rappers are talking about and this and that. Me, myself, it's funny because then, you know, you have all these comments that are like, this shit's crazy, this is fire. And then you have people like, you're changing.
You've changed. I see that when you started posting videos about like where there's weed in the video.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
And it's like, how dare you? You're an example for all these young kids. And it's like, yeah, but you could be doing a lot worse.
But it's not even worse. It's legal where I am. I use it for medicinal purposes. I enjoy it. I have fun, and I ain't killing nobody. What is it? Fucking Romaine's killing more people than weed.
I saw that. Yeah, romaine lettuce.
Yeah, straight up.
Big,
So,
but are they smoking it?
No. But that's the thing is like, it just gets a bigger response. So it's still people that are like, whether you love it or hate it, if I post this negative thing, it's more people enjoy it. And so it was a bit of a social experiment, but the fact of the matter is with Logic, there's always a double meaning.
Right.
So if you really listen to the hook, cocaine, 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 Molly, Percocet, my rep, move up like a dolly. If I talk about this shit more often, probably. But everybody negates if I talk about this shit more often, and they're just cocaine. What is this? And who are you? And 1-800 guy.
Right. But does that, when you see the difference in the response?
Yeah.
You're not the type of person to go, okay, I'm only going to do this shit now because that's all that people like.
No, not at all.
You want people to come on board with this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it ultimately ends up working.
It does. It's like pills in the applesauce. That's what Ninth Wonder, a legendary hip hop producer, told me. You put the pills in the applesauce, you always put a message there. But it's me. There's always a message no matter what. Like, and I'm working on an album now that's like really dope. And it talks a lot about like just where we are as a society and the things that like, it's insane how with social media, for example, it's like, okay, I could have 1 million likes on a post. And then I could have 20,000 comments. And out of those 20,000 comments, 3,000 comments could be negative. But I focus on the negative.
Right.
So it's like, oh my God, like you suck, or this is terrible, or not as good as your older shit, or not as good as the thing from last week, and they do this. And then, but it's like I'm focusing on 3,000 negative comments when there's 17,000 positive
17.
ones, and there's over 1 million people who liked it and didn't say shit. Why am I focusing on this? And that all still comes down to acceptance and just being human. It's wild because I put out this last song, the one produced by Max DeMarco, and there's responses like, this ain't it, Chief, but it's still pretty cool, I guess. The fuck?
Like that someone took time out of their day to, because the only reason to post a comment like that is to get attention from the other people who comment. So you see that on World Star all the time.
Yeah.
Or because they actually believe you're going to see it.
Or something, which is very rare because I don't look at it.
Because you don't look at it anymore.
Yeah. So it's like,
but it's like, why say?
But it'll be something where I'll post it because I don't have Instagram, I don't have Twitter, I don't have anything on my phone.
Yeah.
So like I'll either download it or go to my assistant's phone and upload the video and then post it, and it's like that immediately people are already commenting, like they're watching the loop commenting, like
before it's even over.
Yeah, it's really crazy. But I don't say all this to like focus on the negativity. I say it all to say that I've been set free from it and removed myself from the situation, and because of it, I feel so much better and so much happier.
I would say, as someone who knows you, and we can exaggerate that relationship to whatever legal.
We're lovers.
Way that you're comfortable.
We're lovers.
Yeah, okay. We don't have to tell people we met on an app. But it is interesting that I have seen a shift in you, though, since that happened. I feel like you're less stressed.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're able to focus on the work more rather than the response. Because the response, to a certain degree, is important, but it's a subjective thing.
I've learned that. Exactly. You have people who love and hate. It just is what it is. When you create art and you put it out, I mean, there's people, in like the Renaissance era who would be commissioned by kings and could have like two men kissing and this and whatever, and then they would be murdered because of it. It's insane. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's just art. It's just my opinion. If you don't like it, fuck it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't got to listen to it, but they still do because they're obsessed. I wish we could say what we really thought. How about that?
You can say what you really think.
No, I can't. I can't say what I really fucking think, and neither can you. But that's the bullshit about fucking society.
You can to a certain degree, but the problem is context. And so there's a lot of stuff that you and I could say right now that, provided the correct context or understanding our character as people, is not offensive. But nobody wants to take the time to understand that character or understand what integrity is or drawing moral lines that make sense, not mob versus everybody else. But the problem is we're in instant judgment. We're in a decade of instant judgment right now, which is I see a tweet, I see a thing,
and I'm pissed off.
That person is canceled before there's even a chance to go like, but what's the context?
Yeah, but it's just wild. And obviously we could talk about this forever. But the fact of the matter is, like, it's almost like not fair. Like, that's why I love Dave Chappelle. And you could have people who hate him, but he makes fun of everybody equally.
True.
And the fact of the matter is, if somebody makes a joke and you have a people, a sect of people who feel like ostracized or like they're like everyone's pointing and making fun of them, then they're like, hey man, and stand up and let's tear down the person who made the joke or made the statement. But then if it's about the next person next to them, then they'll just laugh at it.
Right.
It's like if somebody makes a joke, like a cancer joke. If somebody's been affected by cancer, their family member or this or that, like, it's not going to be as funny to them. But if like you're making fun of, I don't know, like you tell an AIDS joke next or this or that, well, you haven't been affected by that, it's funny. But that's kind of like, you can't pick and choose what's right and what's wrong.
I had a moment the other day where, because, Ashley and I had to, one of our dogs passed away a couple weeks ago.
Sorry, dude.
Thank you. And I, the next day, was listening to a podcast, and these guys were making fun of, basically, like, not making fun of, but they were joking about putting a dog down.
Yeah.
It was the next day. Yeah. And I was laughing in my car. I was super emotional and raw still, but I was able to laugh at that thing because it's a part of life. And even the most tragic things or the most controversial or whatever, you can still find humor in that.
Yeah, but you're also different. Like, you deal with your problems head on. You don't try to escape. A majority of people in society like run from the issues rather than talk about them.
So when someone confronts it with them, it's like, no.
Yeah, or they're like, that's not right, or this or that. I'm not saying like it's okay to like belittle someone's like religion or race or this or that. There's a difference. That's why I love Chappelle, because he doesn't attack one sect of people. He like will like make fun of you and then flip it around and be like, and black people be like,
right, yeah. And Chris Rock used to do the same thing too.
It's funny, but like there's jokes and shit now. Like I saw Jamie Foxx talking about a movie that he's working on with Robert Downey Jr., where Robert Downey's supposed to play like a Mexican, like in LA, like a real, like kind of like funny, like cholo dude. And apparently Robert called him and was like, yo, man, like, I can't do this, bro. Like, I can't do this. And Jamie's like, you better fucking do this shit. Like, you 100%, like, you gotta do this. This is great. And he's like, nah, man, this ain't Tropic Thunder. That was like a long time ago, man. He's
10
like,
years ago, yeah, a lot's changed.
And when you think about it, it's like you could have people who are legitimately pissed off about the fact that he's an actor playing a character. And not to bring it up, but it's like we know actors who have had heat, voice actors on them because they're playing a different racial character.
Right.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, it's voice acting. That's what's so beautiful about art and creation, where you could be.
You can play an alien. You can play a robot. You could play.
And people get pissed off about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't situations where it's right. You know, it's not. It's not right for sure. I mean, there's stuff, but I just.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's so crazy. It's just like shit's so PC, but I'm still fucking with Mac.
Good. And Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Where you're at in your life right now, do you find it harder to trust people? Because now there's, like you said, you're a household name. There's a lot of money around. There's a lot, not around, like you don't just leave it around the house. If you do, I haven't found it yet. Yeah. But things are a lot more complicated for you now. There's a lot more people around. There's a lot more people tugging at you and stuff. Do you find it harder to trust people? Because you have a very tight inner circle.
Yeah, very, very tight. I'm a very trusting person in general. But yeah, I'm especially now that I'm older, like, yeah, I keep my shield up 100%. But that's just because you don't really know anybody. And I've got a good circle and a good crew and a good camp of people. But it's like, you don't get to me unless you go through X, Y, and Z anyway.
Yeah.
So if you actually got to me as a reference to so-and-so, I pretty much trust you at the gate and shake your hand unless you do some shady shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, there's my manager, Chris, there's my business managers, my lawyers, my this, my that. So especially regarding business and like, you know, financial endeavors, like, yeah, but I'm still always like, but like, there's no, like, I don't let people borrow money and shit. You know what I mean?
You don't?
No, definitely not. Sorry.
Well, that's all the time we have for, who's somebody that intimidates you still?
Probably Donald Glover.
Really? But you know Donald Glover.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I haven't talked to him in a while though.
Yeah.
He doesn't intimidate me as a person. He's like the nicest dude in the world. He intimidates me because of his
as an artist?
As a creative person. But that's a good thing. It intimidates me to be like, yo, like I used to want to be like Drake, you know, and then there was like a time like idolizing J. Cole, who's a good friend of mine.
J. Cole,
but like this and like that and da-da-da. And then it's like I stopped equating or I stopped measuring my, I guess you could just say like artistic integrity or how good I am based on someone else. And I started doing it just on myself. Like I just want to be me. I want to be the best me that I can be. And when I think about the best me, it's like, yo, I have a book coming out. I'm working on a film. I'm working on my second book. You know, I'm writing every day at this production company. We just got office space. I want to act and sing and dance and have fun and do all these different things. And then I look at the man who's snapping right now, and it's Donald. But to me, that's a good thing. Yeah. It's like, yo, he's like really crazy. But if you're being honest, yeah, I mean, it's intimidating to see somebody do it so well that makes you think maybe you could never do it as good or even better. But that's a good fire. That's a great fire.
Yeah, because that's the kind of stuff that takes you to the next level ultimately is like being challenged by someone like that.
Yeah, but it's not jealousy. There's a difference. I've been jealous of artists, you know, like when I was on my come up, like how come he gets the cover and how come so-and-so's doing this and blah, blah, blah. And then, but it's just a young man who's just like wants this thing, but like you haven't earned it yet. So that's the thing. Like I could look at Donald and be like, oh man, I want X, Y, and Z, but it's like, but I haven't earned it yet.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. You know, I've been on a million auditions and like haven't gotten a role.
Right.
You know, and that's why I wrote my own movie. It was like, all right, I'm just going to star in it. Yeah. But I still go on auditions and I still don't get the gigs. It doesn't matter that I'm Logic or this or that. And it's amazing because when I get it, I'll know that I earned it, that I deserved it, that I took enough time to focus and rehearse and, you know, practice. And it's exciting. That's the best shit is like, I've mastered music 100%. I've like mastered what I do, especially rap, I should say. That's why I love doing the singing stuff and playing piano because I'm still working on that and it's super fun.
What do you mean you've mastered it?
I've mastered it as in like, get down and lay down, hit you with the Bravetta, get better, stay down, straight shots in the playground, living how I'm living with the life that I'm giving anybody that's riding with me, I'm riding with them. Show me the enemy and I'ma hit him the second I bit him, I get him and hit him with the venom, ain't no need to pretend I'ma never do it, I knew it, already been through it, I do it for the street, for the fan, for the life, anybody that's gang related. One breath, easy, like that. That's
I understand.
That's mastering the craft. Like, and that's not me fucking flexing or like.
No, yeah.
It's just true. Like, I know
you know how to do it.
Fucking
right.
rap.
Yeah.
But I still don't know what key I sound best in singing.
Right.
I still don't know how to like. I can play the piano, but I don't know. I still am learning all my scale and the circle of fifths and all. So like that shit is super fun to me. And the idea of like acting and not being that great at something and learning. I mean, it's why I decided to write a book. You know, I wrote my book from the perspective of someone who's writing a book for the first time. Because I was like, if I was going to write a book, what's a good way to kind of get away with sucking?
Yeah. It's like my first book.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was that. And now I'm on my second novel and it's like sci-fi. And I'm like 70,000 words in. It'll probably be between 100 and 125,000 words. Can't wait, loving it. I learned so much from the first one. You know, my publisher, my editor, they've taught me a lot, and it's amazing. But a challenge. Life is nothing without a challenge.
Yeah, you are somebody who constantly needs that something that you're not good at to try and become good at.
It's fun, like the Rubik's Cube and shit.
Like the Rubik's Cube, yeah. You referenced a minute ago the movie, so. Couple weeks ago now, I think it was probably in the last month or so, it was announced that you're gonna star in and co-write a movie that J.J. Abrams is producing.
Yeah.
How did you get hooked up with J.J. Abrams?
Well, one day I looked in my email and I just saw an email from J.J. Abrams.
Like one does.
Yeah, like one does.
Like one does.
And he was like, "Hey man, I really love your album, Everybody, and I love the linear story and the overall message and you know, he's like, you're super creative and I'd love to work together." That was the first thing he said, which I was like, holy shit. And he's like, I'd love to find a way to work together or if not, just be friends. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Can I borrow some money? You know what I'm saying? And then I set up a meeting and I just sat down with him and I told him about like these ideas I had and these things I wanted to do. And he was just like very supportive. Then I came into like the craziest money I've ever come into. And this was like 2 years ago. And I said, you know, I'm sick and fucking tired of like not getting gigs or this or that. I'm gonna write a movie. I'd actually written it.
You had already written it.
I'd written it.
The first day I met you and we had lunch, you told me about this movie.
Yeah. And so I'd written it in 2015 and I already had it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fund it myself. $6 million. I can spend that and still be totally fine.
Right.
I'm gonna do it. And so I was like, $6 million and I'm gonna rewrite it because it was funny, but it wasn't like where it could have been. And then I rewrote it, and it was in a great place.
And you're older than you were when you wrote it, so you have a lot different to bring to the table.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I called him. I was like, "Hey, man, I need some advice. I'd love to sit down in person, and I want your advice, like period." And I sit down with him. I'm big on how are you? How's your family? Like it's important because I care about that shit first.
Yeah.
You know? So we were talking, just bullshitting, telling jokes, hanging out, eating. And then he's like, "Okay, so what is it? What do you want to talk to me about?" And I was like, "Dude, I want to make a movie. I am a filmmaker. I really want to do this. I wrote a script. I'm super stoked. I love it. And I'm going to fund it myself." And you know, they say in the business like, "Oh, never fund your own shit." But I think it's like never fund your own shit if you're like broke and like don't have the money and like can't do it and you're going to like, you know,
borrow money from somebody
bank and
to
then your house is going to go under and like but that wasn't the case. And I told him that and I was like, I'm making this movie and I was like, and on top of it, I'm making it the way I want to make it. And I was like, that's why I want to pay for it myself because then there's no fucking studio exec like, well, I don't really know if like this period joke should like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like whatever. And it's just like, no, dude, like I just want to make a movie that I would like, not some studio would like. And he's like, "Okay, well, give me the script." And I was like, no. I was like, literally, I'm not here. I just want your advice.
Right.
And he's like, "I'm advising you to give me your fucking script."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know, man." And he's like, "Look, bro, come on. You tell me you came all the way down here not to give me a script?" Then I kind of thought about it. And I was like, I really meant it when I was like, I just want your advice. But if your advice is give me the script, I'm like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, and you already had a little bit of a relationship, so yeah.
So I gave it to him, and then he gave it to his head of film at Bad Robot, and she reviewed it, and he was like, "Yeah, come in." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." Like he was like, he basically said, I'd love to help you, but if it doesn't fit for us, like I want to send you in the right direction. So I go with my business partner Mike from Bobby Boy, and we sit down, and they're talking, and they're like, "Yeah, blah, 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 and you could go here with the film, and we love it, and it's like Superbad meets Clerks with this Tarantino dialogue, and we totally get everything you're going for, and blah, 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 and who knows, we can go through this, and I have blah, 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 and I have, connections with Paramount and this and all this shit. I'm looking at Mike like, yo,
we might make a movie.
They're talking about making the movie. They're not like, they're like, yeah, so let's do it. And I'm like, what? And then we just shake each other's hand, and that was it.
Are you nervous about acting? Because I know you've been auditioning. You've done
excited.
Some voice training with Steve Bloom and some people, and
You're
excited.
That's the biggest thing is I'm excited.
What excites you the most about it?
It's a challenge. It's something new. It's something I've
never
done. Yeah, I mean, in music, you do things. You act. There's a time when, like making 1-800. I was a fucking millionaire. Life was great. I was, I wanted to be alive. Like shit.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm like writing from this perspective of someone who wants to end themselves, and it's like you have to get in that zone and project and portray that through a microphone. You can't. They don't see your expression. They only hear you. So I feel like I've had a lot of experience in that regard there. Also, I think that also helps me with writing, whether it's manuscripts or film scripts, because it allows me to. I'm very good at painting pictures and explaining things because of how I've done it. You like with rap, it's like it's going down, basement. Like you can just explain and like paint that picture for people. So I'm excited, man. And also I wrote, sometimes I look at a lot of my favorite characters are like the same fucking character in every movie.
Right.
And it's a comedy. And I'm like, you can't, it's who doesn't like to laugh. So that's why I want to do that first. And, I think people will enjoy it, but I wrote the character. I know the character. I am the character in a sense. He's just a little more whinier than me. But it's like, it's going to be fun.
Who could possibly be more whinier than you?
I know, I don't know.
Especially with the voice.
Definitely.
10 projects in 10 years, and now a book too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, 2 books, really, but the first one that you have tattooed on your
Supermarket. I always forget that I have this shit because I can't see it, no matter how I turn my arm. Anyway.
Well, that was a mistake when you got the tattoo.
Yeah, an idiot.
What's the book about?
It's weird, man. It's funny. This is the first interview I've ever done, like really talking about it.
Congratulations!
Thank you. It's a moment.
I'm glad it could be me.
It's weird because I don't want to give it away. I need
but I mean, like, give us an idea.
It's definitely it's around mental health, but it's not like a mental health book. Like it's like it's like some Fight Club shit. Like it's like some real like nitty gritty psychological thriller, but it's also funny.
It's from the perspective of someone writing their first book, like you said.
Yeah, from the perspective of someone writing their first book, and doesn't know how to end it. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go try to figure out how to write it and get inspiration by working at a supermarket.
You marathon write when you write.
Yeah.
Because I will hear from you. Yes, it's marathon. I will hear from you that you're like, I'm on page 19, and it's like, I'm on page 430 2 days later.
Yeah, I love it.
How do you find the writing process for a fictionalized long form story different from how you approach rapping in the third person, which is storytelling mode, which is something that you've gotten pretty good at, but now you've got
when I had the idea to like rap from a character or a different person's perspective in music, it's more like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and write 16 bars or 40 bars or whatever from this person's point of view. So I can not necessarily know what I'm gonna end up writing, because it's also about rhythm and rhyme and all that stuff. But with a book, any story, it's got to be mapped out.
You mean like an outline?
Yeah.
You have to know the trajectory of the story?
I have to pretty much know everything for the most part. It's funny, though. I knew it needed to end a certain way, but I didn't know until I finally got there. And then I was able to go back and rewrite all these little things that made it like, whoa, at the end. But yeah, typically it's like, who's the character? What's he doing? What are major events and things that are going to happen? I mean, the sci-fi book I'm working on right now, that one is wild because it's like up and down and over there, and there's like multiple universes and time travel and artifacts and just wild stuff. That one's like insane. So that was a big arc that we had to figure out over the course of months.
Do you do a lot of research for something like that, or do you just get out what you want to get out on the page, find stuff, and then tweak later?
I talked to Ernest Klein about it, and I was like, do you ever find, not that you have writer's block, but you're just not really in the mood to write? Like you want to write, but you don't want to just force some shit out? And he was like, I live in that place.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he's like, all you got to do is just watch a bunch of fucking movies and read books and have fun and just and then inspiration will come. And that's true. I can't tell you how many, little things I read from Michael Crichton that inspired this thing and that thing, and different movies and films. And it's funny because my book, not giving too much away, it's not a big deal, but the second one's regarding simulation.
Right.
And so, you can think, oh, Ready Player One, but it's like I had a dream in 2014. And it was, you ever hear people like, oh, it came to me in a dream?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck off. That never happened to me. Like never a song, never an idea, never this, never that. And then I woke up and it was kind of like, could you imagine what if the internet was a place? Everything, and what if the internet was a place? And I had this idea, and then over years, it just kind of came more and more and more. And then from reading, Ready Player One and watching The Matrix again and watching all these like simulated things, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
What if I did this and do this and da-da-da, and then it just came together.
You're somebody that's constantly trying to make sure that your input is greater than your output. That way you're not operating on empty, or you're not operating on, low gas.
Completely.
You're constantly watching stuff and reading stuff and listening to stuff and taking it in. And then selecting the parts of that sort of impact you or that catch you, and then trying to recreate that same thing with your own stories.
Totally, because like the truth is like anybody could sit there and try to say like, oh, well that's a ripoff or that's a this or that, but it's just like, yo, find me some shit that isn't. Like
everything is.
It's like, to me, Uncharted is like Indiana Jones on crack, like to me, right?
Right.
But it's not Indiana Jones,
right?
There isn't some
and
fucking
there's no crack,
skull and so, and this and that.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. The reason we equate it to Indiana Jones is because it's an adventure and it's in the jungle and it's in this and it's that. But it's like Indiana Jones was the first one to do it that big, so we're always going to compare it to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
People could compare my second novel to Ready Player One, but if this was 20 years ago, they'd be saying The Matrix.
Exactly.
So it's just you just gotta do what you love and not overthink it.
Do you ever worry about spreading yourself too thin?
Yeah, I've done it.
Well, I know you've done it, but I mean, like, are you worried again? Because now you're getting into
but no, it's time.
You have.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna. There's always gonna be some.
But you have boundaries in place.
Boundaries, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
how important is that for you?
Oh my God, it's the biggest. It's the most important thing ever. If I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it.
You'll just say no.
No, and I had to ask myself why. I've turned down $500,000 gigs where I had to only go perform 1 hour.
That was my birthday party though, and I invited so many people.
I'm sorry, you're a fuckboy. Either way, and you could go, oh my God, you turned out $500,000 but it's like you have no idea what the fuck's on my plate.
Yeah. From
like personal shit I could be going through, shit in the press, in the media. I'm working on an album. I'm helping somebody. I'm taking care of X, Y, and Z. Because that's another thing. I love to help people and I love to do things, but I'm not the dude on YouTube like, here you go, homeless guy, here's $1. So I don't really explain or talk about it unless it makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's things that I've done helping like a single mother and her 3 children and housing and X, Y, and Z. So I'm focused on all these other things. And if my mind is here or I have to work on all of this stuff, because I'm not just a rapper. If I could just go in the studio and rap and make millions and millions and millions of dollars and that's all I had to do, cool. But no, you got to do press. You got to fly. You got to go here, there. It is so tiring.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's fucking exhausting. And then on top of that, you have But I have 50 people on my payroll. I have upwards of 20 people on salary.
You can afford to lose a couple if you ask me. I'll give you some names
Jordan.
afterwards.
I know. No, but like.
That's responsibility.
Yeah. Oh no.
That's responsibility. But it's also is saying no the main.
It's the hardest thing.
Stopgap you have for keeping yourself from burning out or getting spread too thin.
Yeah, but it's the hardest thing because it's like who doesn't want to go make $500,000 in an hour? Don't get me wrong, I got to make money.
Right.
But it's like somebody could be like, oh, you did that, but mind you, I could have 30 other gigs for X amount of dollars, and I'm saying no to this one because I'm like fuck no, because that's my day off, or because I promised my friend I'd take them to lunch, and me taking them to lunch is more important than that.
Do you worry about letting people down?
Definitely, yeah. I think the biggest person I worry about letting down is my manager.
Why?
Chris. Because we're partners and we really built...
He's been with you since the beginning.
Yeah, and so
before the beginning.
Yeah, but when he goes, hey, you got to gig for 500, and I go, no. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, and it's his job. It's his job to be like, yo, but he doesn't eat if I don't eat. And he's fucking eating. And he's 8. Okay, so he's doing good. Yeah. But it's still like, fuck, he doesn't get paid. And then Harry doesn't get paid, and the people on Visionary don't get paid, and then I have this. I feel like, oh, it's like this whole thing on my shoulders. But he's been one to tell me like, bro, like, you ain't letting nobody down. You work harder than. He tells me I need to be more empathetic towards myself and have empathy.
I agree.
And that if I don't want to do something, then it is. And what I realized,
don't punish yourself for saying no too, because that's
you're right. But it's amazing to have someone that you don't want to let down tell you, bro, it's all in your head. You're not letting me down. Look what you've done for me. Look what we've done for each other. And for me, goals. My makeup woman, Amima, she told me, I was doing Ellen and I was so sad. It was like the last time I was on Ellen, and I was still on social media and all this stuff, and I was feeling bad about myself. And I was like, man, I don't know what to do, And there's all this music shit and opportunities and music. And then I was like, when does it end? Like, think about it. I've made millions of dollars. I have millions of fans. I'm blessed. I get to create all kinds of music that I want. I travel the world. I sold out Madison Square Garden and the Forum and arenas and all this crazy shit. I've gone to the Grammys. I've been nominated. I've had magazine covers and this and all this shit. And it's like, well, what is the tip? Like, it used to be, yo, get a record deal. I mean, the real shit was like, put out a mixtape. Yeah. Get fans, be able to go on tour, then get a record deal, then make money, then go on tours, like real big tours, then XYZ, And then I had, it was like, I want X amount of money in a house. Then it was like, yo, I want X amount of money in 2 houses. Then it was, I want this and security and stability. And then you get it all and you're like, wait, why did I just say yes to this thing for money? I don't even like this thing. I'm not even fucking into this thing. Why am I doing it, right? And I realized my goals, not only for myself, but for, my management weren't aligned. And so we sat down and I was like, I want to act and I want to make books. And that's what's most important to me. And I'll still fucking knock out an album every year or every other year, and I'll still go on tour every year or every other year.
And you'll still put the passion into that thing. Because you can't not do that.
When I go to the studio,
it's on your DNA.
I don't think about money. I don't think about, I think about, yo, is this shit hot? Like, is this dope? Is this fun? Is this deep? Does it connect? Like, I fully like nerding artist mode. Right. Whenever there's never been a time where I've sat down and been like, I'm gonna create. I've even gone in the studio like, yo, let's make some radio shit. Yeah. But never been like, I'm making radio shit right now. I'm still like, okay, where's the message? Where's the fun and the rap and the this and the that on top of it? So no matter what, it's always got to come from the heart. But no, so for me the thing was goals, assessing what I want, and making sure that it aligns with everyone on my team. Because if it doesn't, there's a fucking issue. And if I'm working and going to work every day and doing something that deep down is technically making me unhappy, I need to stop it immediately. Yeah.
It's interesting to me that the more comfortable you've become in your own skin and your own identity, the more popular that you became.
Isn't that weird?
And it's sort of a lot different because that's the argument. I mean, we're friends, so I obviously have a defensive approach to Logic sold out, blah, blah. I have a different approach to that because I have an emotional reaction because I know you. Yeah. But to me, as an outsider, that seems more evidence to the contrary. The fact that you are more comfortable in your own skin and you can have nerdy tattoos and weird shit and talk
exactly.
about...
That doesn't make sense. Logic sold out, but I've always talked about peace, love, and positivity, good messages in the music. I've always made turn-up music, hip-hop music, saying this, that. It doesn't make any sense. It's just some hipster fuckboys. Right. That's the thing to say. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there are people who have said like, man, Critical Role isn't the same since X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, who gives a shit? You're still fucking watching. You're still listening. You're still putting money in my pocket. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. And that's a real thing. Like, you think I used to be scared of like, oh no, they think I sold out. Now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Like, that's the best part is like, you can say anything you want and it's like, yo, it is not affecting me. Right. Like, that's the cool thing. When you step back and you realize like, these people's words, it don't matter, certain things can still like hurt your feelings or this or that. But like me feeling any type of way because somebody says I sold out would result essentially in me wanting to make that person like me. That person's never gonna like me, no matter what. Your old shit was better. No, the truth is it's the first time you got a hand job in like 10th grade and my song was on in the background. And so you just see that as like, oh, I really like his old music, man. Yeah. Or blah, blah, blah. The first time you kiss somebody or, one of your favorite memories as when you were 12 years old or something. Like that's how you see it. Like it's the same shit with Kanye. A lot of us say like, oh, Kanye's older shit and this and X, Y, Z as far as like sonically. But the truth is, regardless of what you might think of his, political beliefs, He's a fucking genius, and he makes amazing music, and his sonics are crazy, and they're awesome. There's rappers who have dissed me, and I'm like, they can still rap. Fuck them, but they can rap.
Right,
yeah. Like, straight up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm an honest, like, you got to be honest with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or else I don't think you'll ever be happy. That's a real thing. It's just accepting that some things are just the way they are, but all you can focus on is yourself, and just love yourself and wish them the best. You know what I mean? And don't allow your own insecurities to, give impulse to want to throw negative.
Tear someone else down.
Yeah, why would you do that? It's insane. I realize, speaking of like beef or this or that, not only against myself, but other rappers and this and that, it all comes from an insecure place, because we in hip hop, it's like, we got to be the best and fuck them. And that was this and that wasn't as good. And I'm better than him. And look at me, I'm the best. And it's like, look, man, you're great. Just be great. Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. I tell myself that. You don't gotta prove anything to anyone. If somebody doesn't like you, that's their own fucking problem.
And that's a distraction too, but then that shit pisses in your ear when you're in the studio. Because you're thinking about that stuff instead of thinking about, I'm going to make this thing the best that I can.
Yeah,
you're focused
if you're focused on it. Because then you're thinking like, how can I be better than this? Or how can I say this better than that person did? Or da-da-da. Or you're thinking about other people.
Right.
All you should be thinking about is your art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got people, not even rappers, but like people like who consider themselves journalists or interviewers or this or that, who literally hate my guts and talk shit about me all the time. And it's like, damn, like. But the big reason why these people talk about me is because my name out their mouth makes them money.
True. It's a headline. We talk about that a lot because you'll see, I'll see stuff online. It's a tweet or it's a headline or it's whatever, and it gets the clicks, and that's why they go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people beef with me and then see me in person and walk right past me. It's crazy. It's like, and
do you ever go like pussy ass bitch?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's what Jordan's for.
I know, right?
No, he's like sorry.
Yeah. No, even my crew is like, we just keep the peace, and that's the biggest thing. It's like, what can someone do to you if you wish them the best?
Yeah,
truly,
yeah.
If you're like, dude,
yeah,
like whoever hurt you, or or woman talking shit in this magazine, like, I don't know what man hurt you.
You're right.
Like, I really hope you find someone who treats you good.
Yeah,
and they're truly
me.
I know, and there's a place in my heart that loves all those people, really do, and just wants them to be happy.
Yeah,
which is, it's kind of hard, and it was hard to get to that place.
It's a much more mature place. Yeah.
But it sucks.
But it's freeing, right?
It's totally freeing, and that's it. When you realize why people say the things that they do, and why they obsess. And the fact of the matter is, if I wasn't as successful as I am, nobody would say those things.
Right.
So I'm blessed enough to even be in the topic of conversation.
Yeah, it's the give and take of fame, right?
Yeah, I suppose. But it's so weird because I don't even really like see myself as famous. Like it hits me when I'm like buying Cheerios, and the dude who works at the supermarket's like, "Yo, let me get a picture." I'm like, "Fuck you, man, ring me out."
Trying to buy some Cheerios.
I'm trying to buy some Cheerios, man.
Yeah.
Shake my hand.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your Instagram. That's the biggest thing, dude. A majority of the people I meet, it's all about them. It's all about clicks. It's all about likes.
I'll be with you, and you can tell the difference between a fan and someone who wants to take a picture, because oftentimes
it's just like your
fans will get emotional when they see you out there.
Yeah.
And you can tell there's a connection, and then you can see the other people that are like, yo, 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 yo. You know what I mean? Like,
and like even when I'm eating and I'm like fucking having sushi, and then there's like some chick or some dude like right next to me, and they're like taking pictures of me. I get it. I get it. If I fucking saw Keanu Reeves or something, I might be like, no way, dude. Right, yeah. Like, like you think about it. Whoa. But the truth is like I would take a picture of Keanu Reeves to clown and send it to you. These people do that and put it on their Snapchat.
They put it on their stuff and
all that. But
just having sushi with Logic.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, I don't even really give a shit that they take pictures of me, even though it's a little fucking weird. That's fine. The thing that fucks me up is like, you're taking pictures of me? Damn it, that's right. I can't just fuck, okay, now I'm eating with a person I could be with, and I'm like not thinking about them, think about everything else. So that's one thing that sucks. The biggest thing is like, hey, yo, what's up, dog? Don't you like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You famous?
Yeah.
And they like take their shit out, and I'm like, yo, fuck you, dog. Like,
they don't even know who you are. They just know you're somebody.
And then there's like, I'm out to lunch the other day, and there's this kid, wearing like Supreme shit, and he's like this young kid. He's probably like 14, and I could tell he knows who I am. And he's sitting with his mother. And I'm minding my own business, and I see him pick up his phone, and I'm kind of like, don't do it, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? But he does something, he sets it down. And I'm talking to my friend, and we're probably there for like an hour. They were just getting ready to leave. And then I noticed they're sitting there for like 45 minutes. And I stand up. Oh, and I said something to him while my friend was in the bathroom. And I was like, oh, it's a cool hoodie, man. Like, I really like your hoodie. And he was like, oh, thanks. I was like, what's your name? And he's like, my name's Moses. It took me everything to like make a Moses joke.
Right, you have a lot of those.
Yeah, but I was like, hey, nice to meet you. And his mother was there, and she was like, oh, we love you. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. My friend comes back down. I finish up. Like 30 minutes later, I stand up, and she goes, excuse me, my son is a big fan, and he was just wondering if he could have a picture with you. I said, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's the right fan interaction.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, get in on this. Let's fucking straight up put this on your Bumble page.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like, but that's...
Me and my mom at Logic on my Bumble page.
But that's what's so cool. Like, when you meet someone who's just genuinely sweet, even if he wasn't the biggest fan or this or that, but if somebody just comes up to you and they're like, hey, like, but the time not to fucking do it is when you're eating.
Yeah.
Like, what if I went up to your grandma and was like, hey, grandma, like, what's your fucking cookie recipe, bitch?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
man,
so
I see that a lot because you don't even have to be at like fancy restaurants because I'm not allowed in those, but be around town and you'll see a celebrity at a table, and within the 30 minutes that I'm there eating, I'll see 5 people go up to the table while they're eating with their friends or they're just out and about.
Family or whatever.
Family, anything. And those people aren't thinking about the fact that 5 people have already done it, and it's like kind of really fucked up this person's meal for the last hour.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, I got my one thing.
And it's for me. It's not for them.
It's for me. It's like the entitlement that we have as fans now, though, is a little bit extreme. And
it's super extreme.
It's because of social media.
Exactly. They feel connected to you. And that's another thing. Anybody with, you have 100,000 followers, well, my opinion fucking matters. And then you have true, real journalists who take their time and people who interview and do the research, like yourself. Even though we know each other, it's like, you're not asking me bullshit questions, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it's insane the amount of people you sit down with, or you even just look at on Twitter, and they feel like they write for fucking Rolling Stone. And it's insane. And it's all bullshit. Nobody does their research.
The due diligence,
It's insane. And that's what's really hard, because it's not even about, like, true journalism is about the art. It's about, like, a person reading something and being understanding and gathering this information and kind of coming out of the piece a different person in a way. Nowadays, it's all about the writer. Look how fucking good I'm writing. I'm writing so good, and look at this, and I'm the first on the scene, and blah, blah, blah. And so that's why it sucks that when you meet a person who wants to take a picture with you, they don't give a fuck about you. And that's why I've been learning how to say no.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
That's free.
Hey, can I have a picture? Nope. And they're like, are you fucking serious? And then I get that, and I'm like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'll meet some people, or they'll be like, hey, can I have a picture? I'm like, not right now. I'm just doing my thing. They're like, okay, thank you so much. And I'm like, oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Or I meet some people who come up and they put their camera, and I fucking snatch their camera out their face. I swear to God, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, what's your name? And they're like, what? Huh? That's Keanu Reeves. They're like, what? Yeah, they're like, whoa. No, but they're like, what? And I'm like, what's your name?
You do that to everybody.
I do it, yeah. And I shake their hand.
Yeah.
And then it's like, my name's Dylan. And I'm like, cool, my name's Bobby, how's your day? And they're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm just here for a transaction.
And their fucking phone's in my hand.
Yeah.
Dude, it's wild. I just try to teach them respect. Not even like celebrity, this, like, fuck all that. Just as a human being. Why is it that we're so quick to just get what we can get for ourselves? Why don't you ask the other person how they're doing, man?
Was there an artist or somebody that exampled that for you, or did you arrive at that place yourself because of all these interactions and going, I gotta set up some kind of boundary?
Yeah, there's definitely a boundary, but it's the same reason why when I walk in anywhere, I always introduce myself as Bobby, and I learned that from Kid Cudi. When I first did a tour with him, he came in, hi, I'm Scott. He shook everybody's hand, I'm Scott. Because he's fucking Scott. He's not on the stage right now.
Right.
He's not performing. He's not this. He's not here. Here, sure, I'm Logic. That's how people know me. But it's like, dude, I'm just Bobby.
Yeah.
And like, I deserve respect. And the people that I meet deserve respect. And so it's like, hey, man, what's your name? How you doing? That's why it was so sweet when this 14-year-old kid and his mother were like, we really enjoy your work and your message. And we were wondering if it's okay if we could have a picture. Fuck yeah. And I hope you get 1 million likes on that picture.
It's a completely different fan interaction.
Yeah, totally. But saying no is the shit.
Yeah.
And some people could be like, oh, you say no to fans? I've said yes for 10 years. I've said yes for 10 years. I've literally been throwing up. I had 102-degree fever. I was performing. I performed 50 minutes. And then after the show, got an array of like, the show was great, but you ended it early. What the fuck? And it's like, bro, I was puking my brains
out. Was that on
out.
Everybody tour?
No, every tour.
Oh, yeah,
I've done this on every tour.
Yeah.
But there was one in specific, I think it was the Under Pressure tour, or Incredible True Story. And I'm outside puking my brains out, and there's kids like, whoa, zooming in on me on Snapchat. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you serious? That's insane.
But that's a sense of entitlement that we have nowadays, though, is that like there are no walls between people. That's why people feel like they can talk the way about you or to me or to whoever the way they do, is because that
it's
thing
not
is
there. They
gone.
feel like they can touch you. But for me, it's that's why I'm learning to say no is a good thing, because it's also about boundaries. Why would I do something if I don't want to do it? It doesn't make any sense.
It's only going to take away.
Yeah, for their for their pleasure, for their this, for their that. And if you meet someone genuine, you tend to meet them. And a genuine person won't fucking interrupt you while you're eating. Or if they do, they literally come up and they go, just wanted to say, I love what you're doing, dude, blah, blah, blah. And they fucking go.
Yeah.
And that's still annoying because it's like, I was just in a conversation, but it's still like, thanks. I appreciate that. I would rather that than, and you do have no idea. They sit down, yo, can I get a picture? Cool. Yo, can you shout out my cousin? Hey, yo, it's just like, it's insane.
If you would have told me a couple of years ago that, or 10 years ago or whatever it is, that I would open up CNN.com and on the front page would be a rapper talking about mental health issues, I would have told you you're crazy. But it's not something that you're...
Could you imagine going to, however long ago, Kanye West would be going to the White House to meet President Trump? Just like, regardless of your political views, that's crazy.
Yeah, that idea is
10 years ago?
insane. Yeah, and then
It's
Obama
wild.
talking shit about Kanye or calling him a jackass or whatever, and it's like, that's so...
It's
and then
funny.
from there to this whole thing. But you have talked about so much in interviews and, just in your own life about your issues with anxiety and, how you've lived with and coped with and come out of and, evolved as a person, still having a lot of these issues around. Is it weird to talk about, or is it something that because you saw the response, you felt more free to be able to say, because ultimately the reason why we put our own issues into our art, I think, is because A, it helps us, and B, it helps other people.
Yeah.
Is that your approach?
That's the number one. The number one is a selfish, like, I'm going to get this out and like say it, and then.
For me. Yeah.
And then,
No. For you.
Yeah. For me. Yes.
Mhm.
And then number two is that it will hopefully help people. But even still, when I did it, I received incredible backlash. Like, that's the thing you got to understand. Like, I was talking about anxiety.
From the hip hop community.
Yeah. I mean, I had a moment when, and not even necessarily just hip hop, but just like the cool sect of like people. I had a moment in Pittsburgh where I was like crying on stage, and I was saying it like how I was just really unhappy and overworked, and I was throwing up like before I took the stage, and I had to take 5 minutes and run off stage because I felt like I was going to pass out. And then I was honest with the crowd.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was emotionally just like, I'm so sad because this is all I do every day, all the time, and like this really sucks. Like, I love my job, but I hate driving myself into the ground physically and mentally. Like, this sucks. And then you'd have people like would do recaps on it. It's like, Logic has mental breakdown on stage, and then they're quoting me, I'm so sad, I can't believe that, blah, blah, blah. And they're like making fun of me.
Any other people go, he's got all this money, he's got all this stuff,
but
what does he have to be sad about?
Them. It's more so about a person who could like make fun of someone who's, mentally like fucked up. And I was, and it's like, we all can be ups and downs and this and that. And I was just in a very vulnerable place, and I was being honest about it. People cover it up. They try to cover it up. I have gangster rappers who call me like, yo, that thing, derealization, like I feel like that, and I just feel like I want to fucking blow my brains out. Like, I think I'm going to kill myself. And I'm like, nah, like people, and
talking about the legs because you've been there.
Yeah. And if I said who it was, you'd never believe it. Some of the most like popular rappers and this and that. And I'm like, damn, one, I'm honored you would come to me and talk to me about this, but holy shit, it isn't just me. It's so many other people, and there's a stigma because I'm too cool to have anxiety. I'm too cool to be depressed. I'm too cool to be sad. And if they project that, they're scared they'll lose their money, their fans, their opportunities because of this fake personification that they've created for themselves. And then I feel lucky that I'm like, people call me all types of names, say I'm a nerd, say I'm this, cringe, or blah, blah, blah. But it's like at the end of the day, I'm myself. You can say whatever you want, and you can make fun of me, but at least you're making fun of me. And that's,
Yeah, and don't you feel like, I've seen something interesting with you and with other people too in your position. Staying steadfast to who you are, a lot of times will bring people back around to respect you later because you didn't buckle or change direction when everybody told you should. Even if they were part of that mob that was saying, I want the old Logic, I want this thing. And then you go, no, I'm going this direction. And then eventually they come back around and go, well, I kind of respect the fact that he didn't listen to all of us and change direction, because this thing he's doing now surprised me with how cool it was when I was hating on it at the beginning.
Funny thing is what I do, I forget what I did, 100 and something thousand copies in the first week. I don't know if it was like 170 or something for Young Sinatra, but it was still my lowest selling album in the last few years. And you have a bunch of people like, do the rap shit, do the hard shit, do the boom bap shit. And then I do it. And was still, people love it. They enjoy it. I fucking had all Wu-Tang Clan on my album. Like, it was celebrated, and it is celebrated by hip hop heads. But if we're talking about mainstream overall arc, it wasn't as successful as Bobby Tarantino. It wasn't as successful as everybody. And it's because of the style of music as well. So it's funny to see certain people be like, yo, do that hard shit. And then I do the hard shit, and it's not. To me, it was critically acclaimed and people enjoyed it, and they will, and I'm proud of it. And yeah, but there's a reason I don't do boom bap music all the time. One, because, I'm an artist with variation and I love to do different styles. But if I did the same thing all the time, it wouldn't go anywhere and it wouldn't do anything. It would be static. But it's a prime example of, I love to create all kinds of music. I love to have fun with music. I love to create music that is grand and big and add strings and sing and do trap shit with auto-tune and do the boom bap shit and this. But it's funny, not that had succumbed to people's comments of like doing old school shit. I'd been working on Young Sinatra 4 forever.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, and this is things that they don't understand. Some of those songs were years and years old, and I'd been sitting on them and figuring out how to put it together. But it's like, okay, well, here's what you want. And guess what? It's not as successful as any of my other shit. Technically.
Technically, right.
Like, technically. I still think it was great and it did well. And, people loved it and enjoyed it. And I had a blast doing it and super fun doing it. And that's why I did it. But a prime example of that is like, if I listen to other people, like, I should just always listen to myself. And I'm glad. And I'm glad I did it. I'm super stoked about that. But it's crazy, too, also the climate that we're in. It's like, I released that, just over 2 months ago from where we are now, recording this. And it's like up and gone. But the same thing, all these different artists, it's like Wayne released the album same day, snapped, but it's like there's 9 albums dropping every week. So it's like this, really quick. You used to have artists, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Jay-Z could drop an album once every 3 years, and they were still always the top tier. But now, because of how quick it is and everything's like ADHD, then it was like every 2 years. Then it's like you could drop once a year. But then it's like if you drop once a year and you're kind of in the limelight for a few months and then you go away, everybody forgets about you. Now it's like every 3 months, like quarterly. It's like if you're not dropping like a project or a hit smash song, like, but we think about that as like something that defines our happiness, or if I'm not in the light. But this is how I feel. I got fans that no matter when I come out or when an album is released or a book or a movie or this or that, they're my fans for life and they'll always support. And even though you might have like the cool kids up top that it reaches them or it doesn't, or it's in that circle or not, like you got to put all that shit out. That's why I'm so happy, because it's not about social media. It's not about press and release and this. It's about fans. It's about your music or your art or whatever that is, and delivering it to the people who love you. And they will wait for you. And they'll enjoy Travis Scott and they'll enjoy Drake and they'll enjoy all this other shit. But they're still listening to your music in the car and at the gym and at the this and at the that. But it's okay to step down and say, yo, Travis, man, have your moment. And let Drake do his thing. To me, it's not a competition. To a lot of artists, it is.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that with the amount of stuff coming out at a time, like you said, I'll see on, XXL or World Star or whatever, here's what's coming out this week. It's like 15 different things.
Yeah.
You go, I'm not even going to have time to listen to all that shit this week. But the thing is that album's going to live forever. It's going to be out there forever. And who knows what.
And I'm proud of it.
Who knows what ebbs and flows it will have in the popularity later. With how much you work and your work ethic being what it is, how do you know when to tell yourself, I got to have some downtime? Because there's not a day that goes by where you're not messing with several projects at once.
There's just certain days where I'm like, just don't do it today. And it's hard. And it's only like once a week, maybe.
What do you do instead? And what do you do instead of working? When
definitely smoke weed. Like that's a big thing. Like I'm like I have a nice nightcap every night. I could have a nice pour of scotch, just hang out with my dogs in the fireplace, watching a movie, just chilling, enjoying that. Lets me know 6 p.m. I'm good. I can also do the same thing with weed, smoke a joint, and I'm relaxed. But on days off, it's like, not that I'm drinking early, but I could like smoke. Right. I could like get up, do whatever I need to do, work out, and then just like, hey, I ain't got shit to do. I'm gonna smoke a joint and watch a movie or
play
hang out with
games.
a friend of mine, play video games. Like another thing though, which is really wild, I need to do more of just being by myself, like completely alone, because I'm alone when I work, but I'm still working. Like I mean, just
you're
sitting,
like
just being outside in my backyard and just relaxing.
Is that hard for you?
Yeah, but it's not hard to do. It's just like hard to be like, yo, you could be doing something. But my favorite thing I think in the whole world is talking to friends. I've really realized that it's like better than any movie or experience. Like having a conversation with a friend, whether they're dealing with something like negative or positive or this or that. It's just every time I talk to a friend of mine, I feel like I'm growing as a man.
You take something away from it.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing to do. Just get baked, just talk about cool shit. Yeah, that's my favorite.
You also, something I've noticed in the last few years from knowing you is you're not afraid to surround yourself with people that will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I mean, thankfully the people that are with you now have been with you since, most of them since pretty much before all this ended up escalating to where it is now. But a lot of people in your position, some people want 100% hype people or someone that's just going to be a yes man. Some people want 50-50. They need that thing to feed them, but they also want some people to tell them the truth. I feel like with you, nobody's really too intimidated or scared to say like, you need to chill, man, or maybe this is a better idea or whatever else. How important is that to you to have people around you that are like that?
It's super important to me, but I've also learned to watch what I ask now. So like,
what do you mean?
Like, I want everybody to always be completely honest with me, but there's certain decisions that I make in my life that as a man, I don't give a shit what you say.
It's got to be you that makes that
I'm
decision.
gonna look you in your face and I'm gonna be like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I don't really give a shit to hear what you have to say about it. But like, not in an asshole way. Like I'll just be like, hey, like, then I'll say it along the lines of like, hey man, like, I know what I'm doing. I've made this decision, and the only reason I'm telling you this or explaining why I came to this decision is because I love you enough to just let you know you don't have to worry about me. And so it's like I'll have those kind of conversations, but it's like probably 85% everyone's involved. I tell them all the time, let me know, what do you think? Yes, no, should I do this? I mean, everything, my book cover, the track list of an album, the album cover, my script, what about this joke? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Is it like, everything. And I would tell me, just be honest. And that's, I build that. And then there's 15% of like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do it this way anyway. Like I didn't really ask you about this joke and you could think it's too edgy or too this or too that. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate it, but I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do it.
Ultimately, you have to make the call.
But you have to know when and where, and you take criticism or the opinions of others, even the people that love you. Because I've had people give me advice that I love that are very near and dear to me. I took their advice instead of following my gut and told them like, I really think I should follow my gut. And then I listened to them and it fucking blew up in my face. And they were like, oh, I'm never gonna question your gut again. When you say it's your gut, I'll never question it again. And
because it's been honed and trained to know. It's like survival.
My gut's never really done me wrong. Like truly, like everything. Like even if something might have not necessarily worked out, I'm still super glad I did it because it taught me so much about myself and then how to go about, that in the future or this or that. It's really, whatever it may be, business, personal life, this, that. So it's really awesome. But I only ever go to my gut for big shit. I'm not like, hey, should I chance it on the sushi that's been sitting out for 2 hours? Like it's not like that. It's like serious shit. Like, damn, should I
buy a house or like,
it's like that. Like, should I do this? And then I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, you should. Or you know what? Not right now. It's the same reason I didn't buy $10,000 shoes until I was almost 30 years old with X amount of money in the bank where I'm like, you know what? I deserve it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's something that used to terrify you that doesn't anymore?
That's a good one.
Besides being naked in a hot tub with me.
Planes.
Okay, we were talking about this earlier, flying. Okay.
I used to be so fucking terrified of planes. When I first started with music, I'd never been on a plane in my life. And then so I'm flying to LA and back all the time to Maryland before I moved to LA. I was totally fine. And then one day I was having dinner with my attorney, Paul, and he's like, oh my God. Talk about flying, right? He doesn't talk like that, but
he does.
Kind of, yeah. Anyway, he's like, you're in this fucking metal deth machine.
I remember him saying that, metal death trap.
Yeah. Just explode.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like SpongeBob. Squidward. Anyway, so I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And then the next day I get on a plane and I was like,
all you can think about.
My God, it's all I could think about. And it just something triggered me. For the next few years, I battled with this. It probably wasn't until last year, the last year and a half, that it's like gone.
Is it because you fly so much now that it's just a regular thing? It's like getting in a car, or
no,
did you have to go through a process?
I had never flew before, and I was fine with it. I was like, oh, the first time I ever got on a plane, I was like, oh, this is scary. But then I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's because I had everything I ever wanted in my life, and to me, the most like reasonable thing that could happen to take it all away would be dying in a plane crash. But it was this irrational fear that was so deep down and embedded that I couldn't realize that's what it was at the time.
It was connected to so many other things, though.
Exactly.
It wasn't even about flying. The fear was about something else.
Yeah, but I had to learn to let go. And that's because I'm a control freak. I want to know everything. It's like I'm in the studio with Bobby and I'm behind the Pro Tools session half the time because I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
But you got to know when to let go. And so it didn't happen overnight. You know, it was to the point where I was contemplating buying $1 million tour bus and I didn't have the money to do it. You know, I trusted my gut not to do that shit.
Right.
But like,
so you wouldn't have to fly.
So I wouldn't have to fly. I mean, I'd driven, 18-hour drives in a compact car when I didn't even have a license with 4 other people just because I didn't want to ride 2.5 hours on a plane.
See, for me, I have the opposite fear. For you, I've done everything I've wanted to do. I have everything to a point that I want, and like that sense of whatever, and then all that could be taken away. For me, I have all this unfulfilled stuff that I haven't been able to do yet.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that. And that's what I'm afraid getting taken away from me. So it's interesting. It's interesting that coming from both having a fear of the same thing, but the different motivations of why we have to
But I think that's what it really comes down to. It's a fear of that, and that's pretty wild.
What else?
Oh, I used to be fucking scared of the public.
Yeah, you did,
for sure, 100%. Yeah, just scared of going out, not like being famous, like when nobody even really knew who I was. And that's because I grew up doing a bunch of dumbass shit and seeing people like, oh yeah, so and so go rob this person. And it's like, like seriously, and like, oh my God. And then being in situations myself where like guns are involved and like I could die. And I'm like, oh, and that like fucked me up and then scared me about the world. And you know what? I think it's a fear that probably is still there, but it's a fear that's overcome. Like I'm scared to go to the fucking store because there's some psychopath who wants to go in and shoot the place up. Straight up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fearful of like, shit like that, like intruders or this or that. Like, it's a fear. But it's not a fear that holds me back. So I guess it's something that anyone could be afraid of, but I don't let it rule my life like it used to.
Yeah.
Now it's like normal. Like I used to freak out about planes and freak out way more than the average person. Now I ride it like the average person with maybe a heightened, acute sense of like death.
Right.
But and the same could be said with just the outside world. The outside world's a scary fucking place, man. It's super scary. It's also very beautiful. But I mean, there's people who walk into a gas station and get fucking stabbed. Like, and it's just, you hear about the craziest, scariest shit and you think it could never happen to you, but the truth is that it could. But therein also lies the thing is like, especially as a rapper, I'm not stupid. Like I don't, like you said, I don't wear diamonds and all this other stuff. This is the flashiest thing I wear. And don't get me wrong, this is like, but I'm not going to wear this without 2 motherfuckers who will rip your head off around me.
Right,
it's just true. Like I'm not stupid, and
you also don't want to live in a constant state of fear because there's going to be something that's going to freak you out. If you go to the gas station, there's 10 different things that could happen. Yeah. Somebody could come in and stab you. The gas station could explode. Yeah. Someone could die in a freak gasoline fight accident. That's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. But you can't overthink it. These fears are understandable. They're relatable. It is what it is.
But you also don't get to where you are without having overcome a lot of that stuff.
Oh, bro, I'm out of my comfort zone 90% of the time. My comfort zone is
what is your comfort
my
zone?
house.
Yeah,
I'm home. Like,
your dogs.
Yeah,
your Christopher Nolan movies.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. Like God, but just being home.
Yeah,
because there I don't have to watch every little thing I say. There,
and nothing's expected of you there.
Yeah, I just get to be Bobby, dude. It's the best. But when I go outside, it's like Superman changing. Like I forget. It's like, that's who I am. So I go in public, and it's like if I do one wrong thing, then that's terrible. And that's something that's like fucking insane.
That's a fear that comes with the territory. That's a fear that comes with being so in the spotlight that you're afraid.
But I've let it. I'm like fuck it. It's like like shit happens. You know what I mean? Like. it just is what it is. I've had songs that didn't do that good. Relationships that didn't work out, all in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really difficult. And it was something that was hard. But then you realize, like, who gives a fuck?
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Like, why does it matter? Why do you care if people like you or think you're a good guy or a this or a that or blah, blah? Like, it doesn't matter. That's your own fucking business. And people are going to make up whatever they're going to make up about you.
I've struggled for years with, there's something that an old mentor of mine when I was a musician back when Reagan was president, I'll tell you about him later. He used to say to me something I still struggle with this day, because he was an extremely free person. And I would always ask him, stuff that sticks to me, stuff that I can't stop thinking about, stuff that I obsess over, it just goes right by you. What's the secret? And he told me, what other people think about you is none of your business. And if you can understand that, you can understand freedom. And I still, to this day, am not operating in that place of freedom, because I still care too much about that stuff. But I see you in the last few years getting to that place of freedom and going like, there are people whose opinions I care about, and I'm gonna listen to them. But if I allow myself to be ruled by this mob, then it's only gonna hinder my art, and it's gonna fuck with my head and change the way that I do things.
Yeah, if so and so at fucking whatever publication, who gets off essentially on gossip rap media says X, Y, and Z about me, well, fuck them. Who gives a shit? Now, if Sway, from Sway in the Morning is like, yo, that album wasn't really, I'd be like, fuck. I care about what he says.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. It's like you got these like people chasing headlines and clicks and creating memes and doing all this shit, but you got OGs, you got Wu-Tang Clan, like Salute, bro, and Nas and like incredible OGs, fucking Jay-Z. I met Jay-Z's. Like, keep doing your thing, bro. I'm like, fuck. Like, that's what matters to me. But that's what I'm saying is like all the people I love, care about, revere, respect, look up to, idolize, love me. Eminem shouted me out in his fucking last album. Like, what? That's crazy. Like, so you gotta also think that, like, what really matters the most. But even it's like, well, fuck all them too. Am I a good person?
Yeah, because if
my
they
friend
turned
like
on
me,
you,
who gives a shit? It's like you still gotta do it for your happiness. But no, for real,
it's cool.
I care about you.
Yeah. You got some time off right now, sort of.
Yeah.
You're not touring for a little bit.
Yeah.
After grinding for the last several years, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels great. It's so dope.
Do you miss being on the road, or is it nice? It's healthy.
No, it's a healthy thing, because it's like there's like post like tour depression. That's a real thing.
The end of summer camp.
Yeah, you're so used to like getting up, doing this, doing that, doing this. It's weird. You're excited to go on tour all year, and then you go on tour and you're on for a week and you're excited to go home and never go on tour again. That's like how it is. It's really funny. But we've been really rearranging just like how like my tour is done and making it so much more easier, more efficient, and more, something really wanting to like being excited to go out and do again, which is really cool. Me being off, it doesn't mean I'm not working. I work all the time.
Right.
But there's balance to that, and I'm excited. But I am excited to go back when the time comes. Yeah.
You're very grateful
Yeah.
for everything that you have, and you're very grateful for your story. We didn't go into a lot of your backstory because you've covered that so much in interviews.
For
and
sure.
Amazing. If anybody hasn't seen the Rapture documentary on Netflix that they did on you, was fantastic.
They snapped.
I was in it. I'm not saying that's why it was such a big hit. I'm also not saying that. Is it important to you to maintain that gratitude?
Oh yeah, definitely, but only personally.
What do you mean?
Well, because like that's another thing. If I'm so focused on being the humble, it's crazy. I've done interviews where they're like, oh, blah blah blah, and I explain like I brought up money. I didn't bring up money to say that I'm rich. I brought up money to say, okay, I have millions of dollars that is then dispersed in salaries and this and that. I only bring up money either to allow the listener or the viewer to understand that as a businessman, it's not all this money in my bank. It goes into, an account that hopefully these people working for me will then flush that money back in, and so on and so forth. And then I would also bring it up to say, I am blessed. I have worked very hard. I have sacrificed so much that I could buy these shoes, even though it might seem stupid, or this watch, and explain my reasoning behind it. However, in doing so, it's not the first time I've had this conversation necessarily. So it's like, oh, he's such a fucking asshole now. He's talking about his money, or he's talking about his this, or da-da-da. So
you used to disclaim a lot so that you didn't come across that way.
Yeah, now I don't
But that's
give a
your
shit.
thing, is now you're more free. You don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain disclaimers for sure, 100%. You know, it's like, that's why I say, regardless of your political views, like, I don't fuck with Trump. That's just me.
Yeah.
I think it's so insane that I could say I don't agree with this man morally and how he's running our country and how he represents us as like a fucking mascot for the free world. And then somebody could be like, oh, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. But the crazy thing is, why is that? Why is it that you can have, you know, a man here and a man here who both have a family and they both like the same sport and they both enjoy similar pastimes and they're best friends and they could be best friends and they have all these things in common, but he likes this god or this president and he likes this god or this president, so it's fuck you, keep your kids away from me.
And that's what's caused what's happening right now anyway.
Exactly.
Is the division.
So when I say things like, well, regardless of your political beliefs, I just put that out there because it's like, I'm not one of these people who's just fucking on Twitter all day, like fuck Trump and blah, 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 da, 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 which is fine. You can just say whatever you want, but I just believe like I have my own views on life. And whether you agree or you disagree, we shouldn't kill each other because of it. We should be able to respectfully say, hey, this is what I believe in. And then you go, hey, this is what I believe in. And if we are so fucking opposed, we should go, you know what? Let's not really talk about this. Seriously.
It's like Thanksgiving.
I know how you feel. You know how I feel. Man, let's fucking eat some cake. Let's play some video games, smoke some pot, have some fun. Like, the world isn't like that.
Yeah. You're not afraid of saying how you feel about certain subjects, but you also don't dive into the political climate and add your voice to that in a way that a lot of other people are. Is it because you don't want to add to that division, but you have a pretty specific message, and it's more important to you to get that message out
100%, which is equality,
because the president's going to change within the next 4 to 8 years.
Yeah. So for you,
it's like,
why would I spend my time like I'm not trying to push my political views, my religious beliefs, my X, Y, and Z on another person or a community or the world. The only thing I'm trying to push on everyone is just positivity and love. So it's like, but I also believe I have the right to say how I feel about something. That's why I can be like, yeah, I don't fuck with Trump. But this guy could, or somebody behind the camera could, or whatever. And I also would not want them to feel disrespected. Even though I'm like not fucking with it, but it's like, you're a cool person, man. Like, I don't want you to be like, oh shit. Like,
you're separating the person from from some of their ideas.
Yeah, which is, it is what it is. And we could fucking get into that and talk about that forever. But it's just like, look, man, I'm not really big on disclaimers anymore. I used to always do that shit. Oh, this and that and all this stuff, because I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be accepted. I didn't want these things to hold me back or this or that. But I've realized like you can give all the disclaimers in the world. Somebody's going to find something. They're going to find something, man. They're going to find something to hate or try to like exploit or whatever the case may be. It's like, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild.
It's the world we're living in right now. And I don't blame you for taking a step back from the social media aspect of it at all.
That's here's another thing that's so fucked up. We are so addicted to social media that I retract from it for my own personal health and happiness. And I have people texting me, yo, you okay?
Yeah.
Are you all right? I haven't seen you fucking posting ice cream cones and shit and blah, 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 and making fun of your friends and having da-da-da. Like, are you, no, motherfucker, are you all right?
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's crazy. Like, it's like, I hate social media. I'm addicted. Like, that's like, that's like the thing. Like, it's insane. But yeah, and then therein too, it's like, you can't just say how you feel. Like, you can't just go and make a tweet and just be like, hey, like, this is how I feel. It's insane.
It'll be picked apart and dissected, and what you end up having is a bunch of people telling you what you meant.
Yeah. How are you going to tell me what the fuck I meant? I remember, height of Black Lives Matter movement. I've said this a million times, and I've talked to you about it. This was a big thing. And, I wasn't hashtagging Black Lives Matter because I was like, oh, I 100% agree with that statement. I believe in it. And all that's happening with, police violence and all this shit is not fucking okay. But you got some hipster chick hitting me up like, what are you scared? Are you not really black? You're not going to hashtag Black Lives Matter? And I'm like, fuck no. Because it's hashtag this and it's hashtag that and it's hashtag one fucking month it's this and the next it's that. Yeah. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a whole album about it.
You're going to stay constant.
And I'm going to talk, I'm going to let it live forever. And I made an album, Everybody. And I didn't just talk about what was going on in the black community or with police brutality. I was talking about gang violence, drug abuse, sexual assault, rapping from all these different perspectives of life, rapping finally for the first time ever professionally on an album about my own race.
Yeah, people didn't really
Yeah, and the thing that
that
everyone took away from this amazing album about where we are in politics and love and life and race and religion and this and that, and then they turn it that because 3 songs I finally stand up for myself, and I'm sick and tired of constantly being called white rapper, white rapper, white rapper.
Yeah.
And I stand up and go, yo, I'm black and white, and I'm proud of who I am, and here's my story. And then I'm turned into a meme and made fun of it.
Did you know Logic was biracial? Yeah, that whole thing. Like,
Which is funny. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. But it's fucked up as a society that I make an entire album about where we are as a not only a country, but where we are in the world, including social media and addiction and all this stuff. And that's not what's discussed. That's not what's discussed on the cool blogs. You know, that's not what's discussed in the cool circle. But then I'm on CNN and I'm on Ellen and I'm on these
Tavis
major
Smiley.
platforms, talking about the real matters at hand, which is beautiful. But it's crazy that this sect of people that I wanted to be accepted by, are like totally looking that over, and they're like, oh, all he's talking about is being black and white, which one in itself, it's like not fair, because no, I didn't. That wasn't everything, and it doesn't matter because you didn't even listen to the album. But the real thing is, I say this all the time, Kendrick is a beautiful black man who talks about fucking being black all the time, as he should. So why can't I talk about my ethnicity, my race, and my personal experience when it comes to that?
It's because you look white.
You said it yourself. So there it is.
I think so.
No, that's it. It totally is. But then it becomes this whole racial discussion. Now there's a bunch of fucking fuckboys in the comments talking about this and focusing on this rather than all the plethora of other amazing topics that we discussed. It's because it's what clicks, it's what hits, it's what this, it's what that. But at the end of the day, this is why I don't give a shit about disclaimers anymore. Just say how you feel. And honestly, if it comes from the heart, like, it doesn't matter. People can try to twist whatever they want. They can twist it anyway. I mean, it's fucking insane. It's like, I get divorced and somebody thinks, oh, there's headlines, he cheated or she's a gold digger, or he this or he that. No, it's just 2 people who loved each other and it didn't work out. But we live in an era where it has to be something. It can't not be something.
It doesn't. Yeah, that's the thing is I read 100 articles during that time and none of them were true.
Nothing.
And that was weird because it's the first time that I've really been in a position where I know somebody that I actually know the story that all those articles are about. I'm going,
it's not
but
true.
we have to have, we're addicted to
knowing
bringing down people down to what we believe is our level. We need we need something that makes us go, I knew that guy was a piece of shit like me.
But that's what's insane. That's probably the hardest thing I ever went through. And I won't go into it too much.
You don't have to, whatever you're comfortable.
But I do want to say, like, getting divorced in front of the whole world and being known as like a loving husband and this and that. And then it's like, it just shit didn't work out. And it was a private thing that we discussed and we made our statement together. And people take that statement and go, ha! And they just throw it away.
Yeah, it wasn't this. It's got to be this.
It's got to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And that was one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with, because it's like, I am a good man, and they're saying this, and they're saying that, and blah, 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 and then you realize, who gives a fuck? You know why? Because nobody's talking about it now. Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody's talking about it
Nobody
now.
gives 2 fucks.
No, it was a day in the trades, and that's it.
And that's it, and it doesn't matter.
But it's weird to me, too, that was the response, because for a guy who's so okay with being honest about this is what the situation really is, you're like that with all these different issues in your life. Why would you lie about this other thing and say it's about this thing it's not? You're okay with being transparent.
Doesn't make sense,
Yeah. Are there any, I'm going to use this term loosely, I don't want to say issues. Are there any subjects that you haven't tackled yet? Let's restrict it to music. Are there any subjects you haven't tackled in music that you still want to, that you go like, you know what, I want to talk about this, because you're getting older. A lot of the stuff that you used to deal with and rap about, you're finding tools for and stuff like that.
I can answer this by saying I'm working on a whole album about it.
Really?
Now. Yeah. Because I had to ask myself, and I won't get into it because it's just not time for that. I got other shit I got to do first. But there's things I had to ask myself, like, about insecurities and vulnerabilities and all my biggest fears in music. Well, fuck it, let's just put it all out there. I've never actually talked about my own depression or thinking about suicide or this or blah, blah, blah from me, like my perspective. Not that I think about this, but just the thoughts, these intrusive thoughts that can come, and then why they come and how come they are. It's like I've decided to take a lot of the shit that I've said in interviews and shit that I've been scared to say in interviews and just put it all on an album, every song, every track, and just have fun with it. From I'm scared of failing. I'm scared of, just falling off the charts to, I got fucking $1 million in my safe, bitch. Like, just everything. Like, putting it all out there and just being myself.
Where's that safe located?
It's at, what's your address? You look at it.
It's at my house?
It's at your house.
Shit, I had no idea.
Yeah, man.
I
don't have $1 million in my safe.
No, that sucks. You shouldn't. That's not safe.
I know.
That's not safe.
That's not safe.
You should be in the mattress.
No, literally, yeah, my money's in the fucking bank.
Mm-hmm.
Several accounts.
In the Caymans?
In the Caymans, dog.
Where are the Caymans?
I don't know. I know where the Caymans.
Everybody has their money in the Caymans.
The Caymans?
Why don't we all just go to the Caymans and rob everybody? We just got to find out where they are. Is it like the Bermuda Triangle? You have to do a ship in the middle of the night to get to the exact thing? Thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Love you, man.
Love you too. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, dude.
And I hope everybody watching had a good time and enjoyed it. And
you don't need to talk to the camera, dude.
I want to.
I'm the host.
Hey guys.
All right, wrap us up.
I had a lot of fun.
Send us out. Do you remember the name of the show?
Between the Sheets.
Okay.
With Brian. What's your middle name?
Foster.
I know, but what's William?
Wayne.
Really?
That's what I go. That's the one I use now. Yeah.
Okay.
Brian Wayne. Brian W. Foster.
I'm here with Brian Foster, and my name's Logic.
You can say
Bobby?
whatever. Yeah, you can go by the people.
Yeah.
However you want to address the people is fine.
My name's Bobby Hall, and I hope that you've really enjoyed this time today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making me a little emotional just because I really love this guy right here. And he's so nice, and we just spent so much time together, and it's kind of crazy because I've just been so like elated by the fact that I could be here today. I just don't understand.
No
it.
casting directors are watching.
It's just a weird thing. I'm not even trying. It's not even like that. I appreciate you. And,
them or me?
You.
Okay.
I had fun today. It was a great time. This is a meme now.
Don't mess up the makeup.
Fuck it. Thanks for watching.
Love you, dude. Is this money? Ah, God. Today, I'm going to make you a cocktail you can't refuse. Well, you actually can refuse it, but it's called a Godfather. And that's where that quote came from. Anyways, the Godfather. No one knows the exact origin of this drink. The general consensus is it was named after the film or book, The Godfather, but some believe it was Brando's favorite drink. Regardless of its genesis, this Scotch-based cocktail is sure to class up your evening and send your enemies fleeing into the hills or wherever they're from. Here's what you'll need for this drink. Blended Scotch whiskey, Islay Scotch whiskey, amaretto liqueur, demerara syrup, and bitters. First, you'll add a bar spoon of demerara syrup and 3 dashes of bitters to your mixing glass. Then, add an ounce of each Scotch. And half an ounce of amaretto. Fill your mixing glass halfway to 2/3 with ice and stir well. Then you're gonna strain into a large rocks glass over cubes or large ice. Then, make a luxurious orange twist. Express. And garnish with the peel. And there you have it, a Godfather. The taste is reminiscent of smoke and cereal with notes of cherry and marzipan. It's like a Scotch Old Fashioned, but with amaretto. And it will be an easy go-to in your catalog of drinks for years to come. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching Between the Sheets. New episodes are uploaded to YouTube on Wednesdays, and if you want to watch the show live, it airs at 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/Critical Role. Thanks for joining us.